Democrats have nothing left but the strategy of gaslighting. I'm going to talk about this. Politicians do it, people do it. Gaslighting is when you blame the person. So if I cause a problem, then I blame you for it and keep insisting on it until you're driven mad by it. Gavin Newsom is going to employ this tactic. It's very simple, similar to Jake Tapper writing a book on how the media tried to cover up Biden's decline. And then Jake Tapper was part of the media that took place in covering up Biden's decline. Welcome to Doug in Exile. Look at, all I have left now is a little black eye of my skin cancer surgery, almost all here healed. We're looking good. Thank you for all of your prayers. Shout out to the Quad Club who watch 4 videos a day. Here's Gavin Newsom. This is going to be really obnoxious. Obnoxious warning. Here he is gaslighting you.
And I am just, on behalf of the taxpayers of the state, in the spirit of Ashley's question, I'm not interested. I'm just not, as a taxpayer, not just governor, I'm not interested in funding failure anymore. I'm not. I won't. Time to do your job. People are dying on their watch. Dying on their watch.
If only we had a governor in charge, right, Gavin? We got to find that guy. Who's the governor of California? Get him, Gavin. People are tired of they're dying on your watch. We got to do an investigation. This is a lot like, remember when OJ wrote the book? It's like he goes, I'm really just staying focused on finding the murderer of Nicole Brown Simpson. That's what I'm going to focus the rest of my life to. This is Gavin Newsom going, we're going to find the frauds who screwed California in the ground, caused the deaths, misspent the money on the homeless. We're going to find that guy, Gavin Newsom, governor. Oh my.
How do people get reelected? Look
at
these.
How do you get reelected, Gavin? That's what we're wondering.
Encampments. They're a disgrace. They've been there years and years and years and years. I've heard that same rhetoric for years. People are dying. Kids are being born. Overdoses. I met a young man, literally, was out there doing Project Homeless Connect, reaching out near the 405 freeway. I found out the next day he was dead in the name of compassion because we had a notice. I could have helped him that night. I felt like a fraud. I felt like I let him down.
You're onto something. For the first time in Gavin's life, he felt like a fraud. He felt like he let someone down. What is wrong with this guy? Gavin Newsom, are you on drugs? Why can't you see? If only California had a governor whose job it was.
Got to be more aggressive. I saw a young child, a young kid in San Diego, was with the mayor of San Diego right before his State of the State. This poor kid was addicted to meth. He was a wonderful kid. And he said, I'm really glad you came. He goes, I'm struggling. And there in the tent with his wife was a newborn baby. He said, thank you for coming. There's no.
Thank you for coming. And then Gavin Newsom gave him a bunch of clean needles supplied by the state. And Gavin Newsom's going like, we're going to have to get the guy that did this to you.
No compassion in denying what the hell's going on in the streets and sidewalks. They need to step up. Enough of the rhetoric. I'm serious. Enough of the rhetoric. People are dying in this state. It is a.
By the way, that is rhetoric. And he goes, enough of the rhetoric. I'm serious. Enough of the rhetoric. And then he gives you some rhetoric. People are dying in this state. Gavin, the call is coming from inside the house.
Disgrace. It is one of the principal reasons people are so angry. They don't trust politicians. They don't like what they see. I'm sorry to get so intense about it. So
you look really sorry. That is, authentically sorry is one of the words people describe about you. Gavin Newsom, authentic. All your emotions are authentic. Have we ever even met the real Gavin Newsom? I just picture him peeling his skin off and there being a little man driving his robot body. When he peels his face off, there's a little man in his head driving a body. And he's probably like, who knows what he is? Probably maybe Chinese, wearing a Santa Claus suit or something. This looks nothing like Gavin Newsom, but he's the one who's really driving that empty hull of he looks like a frat boy, the lawyer for a fraternity who's also the devil.
Moral issue. They need to do their job. And if they can't do it, let me know. Just say we give up and then we'll intervene. We'll come up with different strategies and different approaches, but I'm sick and tired of all the barriers and all the BS.
Oh, yeah. Does this guy look like a guy who's sick of the barriers and BS? Goodness. That's mental abuse on the entire state of California performed by Gavin Newsom. I'm sorry, but this is nearly psychopathic in the level of passive aggressive, blaming you. I don't understand these people, guys. When you try and understand a Democrat, you'd have to be crazy to understand exactly what they're doing here. Here's Doug Burgum destroying Caitlin Collins on CNN.
He didn't tout it that often, but Secretary
Well,
Burgum.
he did because of the permitting that happened under President Trump. I mean, all-time record oil production under Biden was because of Trump. It was in spite of Biden. I was running a state that was a natural resources state, and we were fighting the federal government. Federal government wasn't even holding the legally required lease sales during the Biden administration. First president since Harry Truman was Biden that didn't hold those lease sales. So for them to take credit, that was all because.
Well, they didn't take credit because it wasn't very popular with their voters.
That's two different points that she makes. Number one is that Biden is taking credit for the energy production under his reign, claiming that he opened up the government and drilling and gas production. And then Doug Burgum goes, no, actually, that was Trump that opened up the licenses. And that's what opened the floodgates to fuel coming in under Biden. And then Caitlin goes, no, actually, it was very unpopular what Biden did because of the environmentalists. So it actually worked against him. These people don't know if they're coming or going, man. This is whiplash by Caitlin Collins. Doug Burgum's going to straighten her out.
Well,
Secretary Burgum.
Affordable electricity is popular with everyone, and America needs to make sure we don't lose the thing. I mean, take a look what's happening in Europe right now with this 60 million people in a brownout blackout. We came very close to that happening in America because the Biden administration policy so dangerously eroded baseload in favor of having unreliable intermittent sources. And so we're just fortunate that we're not where Europe is right now, and we don't want to go there. Germany spent $500 billion to go chase a green path, and they ended up with electricity that costs 3 times as much, and they're producing 20% less.
An all-time high.
That sounds like pretty good numbers for a Democrat, is what she's thinking. This is my favorite one. Okay, check it out. Here's, Saudi Arabia. Okay, first, Trump gets this free plane, a $400 million plane from Saudi Arabia. This is Hillary Clinton's Twitter. No one gives someone a $400 million jet for free without expecting anything in return. Be serious, says Hillary. Good one, Hillary. So Trump got this $400 million jet. Their claim is it's to buy influence. Meanwhile, here's what the Saudis gave to the Clinton Foundation over the last year.
The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia gave at least $10 million to the William J. Clinton Foundation, a nonprofit created by the former president. Other foreign government donors include Norway, Kuwait, Qatar, Brunei, Oman, Italy, and Jamaica. For the first time since Clinton, then president, started fundraising for his foundation, he has released what his aides call a complete donor list. The globe-trotting Clinton's foundation has been raised as a concern regarding possible conflicts of interest.
That's the AP even said it, that the Clinton Foundation's gotten so many. So how can she not look in the mirror? And of course, it will never occur to her, to Democrats, to look in the mirror. And speaking of that exact same technique, here's Chuck Todd on Jake Tapper's big media cover-up of Biden's senility, then blaming you for calling them out on it. He goes, I was one of the few that was fighting for it. We were fighting to get the word out,
not just undermine Biden.
First method that you'll see on them is if they distance themselves from Biden. Remember, Biden said no daylight between you and Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris would not criticize Biden on the campaign trail. So the first thing that you might see from the new Democrat candidate running for 26 or 28 is going to say, Biden was a screw up. He was evil. I'm distancing myself from him. I have a brand new plan. That is going to be first base with any Democrat who wants to get over the whole, we lied to you for 4 years and we're still lying to you about Biden. Look for that first step. Give us a subscribe if you like our strategy and our exposure of what the left is doing to try to gaslight you. I'm Doug in Exile. Subscribe.